Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. Now, this is going to be part 2, and the final part, actually, in making an accordion or concertina journal. So, just to get, hopefully you've watched part 1, which was the basic construction, and just to recap, this journal is roughly 5.5 by 5.5. I've used my Aesop's Fables digital kit printed on cardstock. So there are 11 panels to it. So you can see all of that. And again, I love accordions. And I think that one of the advantages to them is that you could very artfully display them standing up just for a change of pace on your bookcase or wherever. So what we did last time was basically use vintage paper as hinges, and after the video I did all the other ones, so now every single seam has a hinge on, like, so it's hinged on both sides for strength and durability. So the nature of the illustrations, well, number one, they're vintage, and number two, the coloration and so on lends itself to a grungier type of finished product. So I also used my ground espresso distress oxide to ink around the edges and the hinges. And then what I did after the camera was turned off, I just gathered up a bunch of odds and ends that have either been kicking around a long time or just, would work in this, in decorating all these panels. Now, so, excuse me, it includes things like these clock faces that are digitals that I printed. It includes some scrapbooking paper that I'd recently thrifted this. And this particular page had dimensional things added to it in 3 places. So I pried that off, and then of course had to get rid of the stickiness that follows. So I have, stuff like this from an old dust jacket. Love this, use it periodically. This is some sort of a label from, this was a spool of embroidery thread, and that was inside the spool. So I've got that. I also pulled out things like these vellum, well, they're not I don't think, well, maybe they are stickers. And this sort of little thing, I think I got it from, I don't know, probably from Temu. So this particular one is letters. So it's got all these little tiny, letters, postcards, that sort of thing. And they're vellum. So they're great for layering, to add that scripty feel to it. Now, another thing, of course, a person could do would be to do some stamping, because stamping doesn't add any dimension. And just as a reminder, if this is the first time you're doing an accordion, is keeping it as unbulky, as flat as possible is recommended, so that it, it does close the way it should. So anyway, let me bring you up to speed and get right to it. So on this inside, so I've always considered this the front cover, but of course, the nature of these books is that could also be the front cover. So here I've just collaged some book page, some of that label, a couple of images that I cut out of a book. That's part of a digital. That's part of a doily digital. This I've done nothing with, and I think my intention, you can see how the ink brought out the, you know, the sort of the raggedness and the age off the hinge as well. So because these are richly and fully illustrated, I don't think I'll be doing anything on the actual digital pages. But you can see I've got a lot of open space yet to decorate. So I didn't do a lot without you. I did add this pocket, and I reinforced at least the leading edge of it so that it would, you know, hold up. This was the back of a pad. Well, I guess I don't need to draw you a picture. You can see that. This pad was at the back of a book of old bread coupons. So I use that to create a pocket. I don't always do a notch because here it's high enough contrast that, you know, anyone would know that. And another thing, I should say, I saw somebody do this, or somebody mentioned this in a video, that when she's gluing down pockets, she either uses her bone folder. Now this is a fairly thick one. I'm sure there are thinner bone folders out there. She kind of just runs this thing along here to leave a bit, to create a bit of space. I've done it. Now, depending on how heavy or not the pocket paper is, you can actually end up with a bit of a bulge there. And that may not be the greatest look. So I'm thinking that this flatter spatula thing would work just as well. And it's just for those few seconds while the glue is grabbing. So keep that in mind, because, you know, sometimes our pockets are so flat. Like if we haven't done the little flangey things on the side, our pockets can be so flat that it's difficult to get anything in there. So this was another vintage photo out of that same book. And so I used my little Fisker's corner thing, because I don't do that often enough. Folded in such a way that that little decorative border showed. Backed it. There's the hinge part. And I just, first of all, I used the Punchinello and, now would that have, I think that's peacock feathers, because of course that blue is throughout a lot of these digital pages. And then just use 3 random digital labels that I had to, like, I mean, the fact that they're poking out there tells you that, oh, let me lift that up and see what else is there. And that may be the end of what I've done. So let's, again, we'll just decorate a page just for the heck of it. So, like I said, I do have a lot of items here on the side. You know, things like, if I could pick it up, things like these punch-outs that come with, you know, scrapbooking kits. This is something I punched out of something, or maybe that was a part, I don't know. There's more of this. I've used it elsewhere, so this might work. Maybe we should do that here. Those colors sort of pick up those colors. You know, the other day I did a thrifting video. Well, I did several because I was behind. And I had picked up a bunch of grid paper packed in cellophane. Now the price on the package was 29 cents, so it had to be pretty old. Anyway, the packaging, that cellophane or whatever it was just disintegrating in my hands. And of course, those little tiny flakes of plastic, cello, whatever they were very staticky, and of course they clung to everything. And here, again, you probably can't see that, but I can. So this little minute little thing here, I thought I got rid of all of these. I even pulled out the vacuum cleaner. I had enough stuff on my floor that I could have made a mini journal. Well, not quite, but you can see where I'm going with that. So yeah, I guess, you know, it's almost like its first cousin is glitter because it was miserable to get rid of. Now this is too long. I typically try to, and again, this isn't rocket science. It is a matter of personal taste. Now this was, obviously it's getting kind of ruined here, so I should probably use it. It's personal taste as to what, so in order to have that show up, a darker, whoopsie, see this still is kind of sticky at the back here. There's a thread. Let's see what happens if I were to use this, because then of course that would show up a lot better. That is black. This is a really chocolatey brown. But if I cut, maybe go this way, just not in half, but something more random. I should probably do the outside, then I'll end up with a white edge on all four sides. Oh, that didn't work. It's on the wrong side. Anyway, maybe I'll put it on this side, then it's not quite as close. And sorry about the inking. If you've watched it all, you know how I feel about that, but I can't very well do it after it's down, so I have to. And I guess I shouldn't have been worried too much about maintaining the white edge because I'm now obliterating it. And again, it helps to get these sorts of things that are kind of annoying because they stick to whatever's around them. I think for certain of these pieces, I will use my glue stick, even though it's not, put hand lotion on it. Even though it's not the quickest thing in the world. This one is almost done. Anyway, I was saying that decorating, totally your choice. Obviously, if you were to buy this kit and wanted to do your own little Aesop's Fables accordion journal, then you'd probably go vintage as well. If you were using some other paper, then that would probably dictate, you know, what your, I had a card here, would dictate what your style would be. And of course, the availability of your own scraps. Oh, I said I wanted to use this just because it's getting damaged. So do I want to maybe just put that there? Again, this is just very random. I'm hoping that by doing it on camera, I'm maybe not dithering as much. Number one, it's something that I think we can all benefit from, which is crafting a wee bit faster and a little more maybe spontaneously, as well as to increase our productivity. And I know that not everybody is crafting because they want to create a human assembly line, but there are so many other benefits to what we do that, you know, productivity sometimes I think falls by the wayside. Now that is fine so far, but of course we can't leave that strip there. Now this green is neither here nor there, so we can't use that. what else? What else? Now, I also have some of these strips off my coffee dyed papers. Now, even that little bit, but I'd probably have enough ink on there to maybe darken that up a bit, because it still looks a bit whitish. Maybe just run it along the edge so it's a more defined torn edge. I could put it this way, and then the torn edge overlaps the hinge a bit. Now, of course, on the pages that were printed, on the digital pages, that is a sharp, you know, a very clear demarcation of what ends where. On the blank pages, I have the opportunity to overlap the hinges and make a wider, maybe more cohesive looking layout. Not that there's anything wrong with the hinges, as it were, because, I mean, it stands to reason that something needs to be holding this book together. You know, it's not magic, it's hinges. Anyway, I hope you guys are fine. We are in the throes of another heat wave that's supposed to last about 10 days. And I don't know, I haven't been watching, like the guy that does the weather on my favorite station, TV station, typically does some almanac type, you know, facts on this day, you know, 30 years ago, blah, 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 or, you know, those kinds of trivia type things. Now, I better be certain about this, because once I have this cage glued down, I can't very well... See, this is part of some... dyeing that I had done. Again, very white background, but you can see it's a good match with that. Oh, you know what would be cool, but do I have anything like that in the right size? To put something... Where's a bird when you need one? Wouldn't it be good to have a bird behind there? I just had a bird here the other day. What did I do with it? Oh, also within reach is this little bin I have of more washi stickers and more of these little types of, whoops, these little types of fat little books. If I could get it out. Now these, size-wise, these are all pretty well the same. I also have one of these boxes, and I thrifted a bunch of these that have kind of, what am I calling this? I'm just calling this minis. So a bunch of small things, but I doubt that there's a bird in here. I might just have to reach for a bird. Another thing I intend to use in here are these images from a Kate Greenaway book that I had. And, oh, if you looked at my coffee shop, you'll see that I scanned these pears and a couple of flowers and put together a freebie for you. So by all means, go over there and grab it. I think, honestly, I might have to just reach. Let me finish this. Sorry, I'll just reach for my bird pouch. I only have thousands of images, so this will be interesting. Now, I've kind of grouped them by size. Those are all pretty black and white, though. These might be the right size. What are these? Maybe those are the right size. Okay, let's see if we can quickly find a bird. Those are probably too small. Those are too... Let's look in here, see if we can quickly find something that will... I guess it'll be weird, in a sense, to have a wild bird in a cage, but don't know that I have a budgie or anything. That's too bright. Hey, if I separated that little guy, let's just do that rather than... Oh, here's a blue one. Maybe he's better because he'll fit. There just happens to be a branch in his cage. Do you see how I've spent many hours that I'll never recover? That I'll never get back? Fussy cutting? Okay. Now, what would be the smartest is if I position... Well, no, I can do it this way. I just don't want to cover up his eye. We want his eye visible. And he's even pointing into the book, which is what I always prefer. I just noticed that something didn't... Whoever did this, yeah, there's that and that. That adds a bit more interest. Okay, let's figure out where this bird should be. Or I suppose I could glue down the bird and then make the cage work. If I want his eye exposed, his tail's going to be out. Okay, enough fooling around. Oh, and this is on heavier paper. I think I need to adjust the thermostat. I've closed the door to my room to avoid any noise or interruptions. But it feels like, oh my goodness, shouldn't that air conditioning be kicking in any time now? I hope this is the right spot. Because you know, with art glitter glue, there's only one chance. If I would have put them up a little, well, mind you, no second guessing now. Yeah, so I hope, you know, sometimes when I hear about those temperatures that some of you are experiencing, it blows my mind. I cannot imagine how people function. I remember years ago when my husband was doing long-haul trucking into the States. Sometimes I'd go along, you know, fill the sleeper of the truck with books and things. Of course, that was long before this journal making ever started. Anyway, so I would be reading, and so then we'd get, say, to a pipe yard in Houston. And, you know, you've been in it, number one, it's winter in Canada. You've traveled across the length of the continent. Well, not quite, because there's Mexico. You know, across much of the continent. It's January or February in Houston, and we can barely stand the heat. And you see the locals. Well, again, they're laborers, so, you know, they're working. They're not just, you know, hanging about. Oh, maybe, oh. Look at that mess I just made. But I don't want so much of his body or his tail out the back of the cage. So I just moved it over one rung, and that of course will dry clear. Anyway, so yeah, these guys, so it's as warm as can be for us. you know, you get out of the air-conditioned truck and you just see the heat rising off the asphalt and the around there. And then we see these guys in ski jackets, like in quilted winter jackets. And we also see everybody moving so slowly. And eventually, you know, you put 2 and 2 together and you think, okay, it's not that they're dragging their butts. It's not that they are, you know, stealing time from their employer. It's not that they are, you know, lazy. It's just when it's that hot, that's about all the steam you can muster. Whereas, you know, if a Canadian was working, if somebody at home was working on that particular day, you'd be hustling, because otherwise you'd be freezing to death. So anyway, it's all in in perspective, and, you know, giving the other guy the benefit of the doubt. I will look for, I thought I did have something here that just fell out a while ago. These are wait, I think I have something better. Yeah, so sometimes, you know, it's good not to judge, because we, you know, we need to walk a mile in the other guy's shoes. I had kind of a yellowy, oh, there it is. What is this from? Oh, this is off a, oh, there's another one. This is off a music roll. Whoops. So I guess I should get rid of that white there. These colors work, and they just add a wee bit more interest. And see, I don't know what happened here. Maybe that was my fussy cutting. Yeah, this just adds a bit of interest. Breaks up all these vertical lines as well. I also have beside me a bunch of postage stamps. Now again, maybe it's a bit late to be considering that, since I've already glued that down. I could do that as well. Those colors work. And I'm just wondering if I shouldn't run my brush over that bird cage. That does look a wee bit bright. Again, might have been a good idea to do this prior to gluing it down, although that would have been almost impossible to do without tearing. So, good decision, Hazel. I should probably stop and pat myself in the back. Okay, we'll call that one done. How are we doing for time? Well, we're at the 30-minute, almost 30 minutes, so maybe we should stop there. Anyway, I just wanted to say, maybe while I'm just doing my little closing, I could be dry fitting some stuff. Oh, this was, and I don't think it's part of the digital, but this was the index page. That might be cool on there. Part of the index page for the little book. So maybe I'll do that. And what else? This is part of another digital of mine. Look at those colors, they're perfect. This was from a very old music, what are those booklets called? Are they called scores? Love the colors on it, and of course, it was the the composition was called Trees, so we know I've got a soft spot for trees. Okay, so if I just go a little bit like that, it'll be perfecto. Save that, of course. Oh, that's rather straight, but it'll be covered. Yeah, so anyway, I really hope that if you have never done an accordion or concertina journal, that you give it a whirl. It is, of course, you can pick the subject matter. I mean, you could do it with digitals. You could do it by taking apart, say, a little golden book or a kid's reader or something like that, and end up with something that you totally love, because of course you're choosing every single element, and I think there's less of an intimidation factor also with this, because it seems like, oh, I just have to kind of do it a small page at a time, and you know, bite-sized chunks. You don't have to do a 100-page journal. Okie dokie. Oh, I see this could be a smidge shorter. So I will, this will form the basis of this. I will put this woman or this angel here. But what else? That's not enough. What else? Oh, I had this thing that sort of picks up on the same color. It also has some punch-out type. It's not a sticker, so why is it not coming apart? Anyway, guys, I said I wasn't going to do this, but here I am doing it. So I will continue this on my own. I did this morning also pull out some itty-bitty pieces off. Oh, that was one of the things I was looking for. Not that. Here's a piece of fabric that is sort of, you know, those grungy colors. This is a bit of lacy stuff. I won't tell you where I got this from, but maybe you can tell by the shape. Again, keeping in mind how very important it is to keep this flat. A little bit of eyelet, which maybe looks a bit light for this. And of course, this sort of netting that is used to gather lace and to, you know, bind the edge. So if you take that apart, let's just tear a piece here. Look at that. I did that with my own brute force. So just trying to flatten it out a bit. Whoa. She doesn't know her own strength. Just show you that if you assemble a few things that work color-wise and let yourself go. Oh, do I want to maybe do it like so? Or have it go this way? Sorry, I hope I didn't wander out of frame. Thread that through there. Now try to keep that flat if you can. It adds something more. The colors sort of work. Let's get this right side up. We don't want to create any bulk there. Mind you, it would make gluing that or putting that sticker down a wee bit more challenging, unless I had most of it off on a flatter surface. So yes, I think that's what I'm going to do there. but I'm not going to make you watch it all. So I also have this, which has been dyed. I have something like that, but those are, I don't know, maybe two. I have some scraps of my piano dyed paper. Mind you, I could also put her there, but that's kind of gray. Piano dyed paper. I mean, dyed piano paper. You know, so you can see how things will shape up. And of course, at some point, I would do a final flip through. So, excuse me, if you are tackling an accordion for the first time, by all means, you have my best wishes for your journey in that regard. I think you may become hooked, as I have. And I really hope you enjoy making your perhaps first accordion. So thank you for joining me, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.